It's time for the Wall Street Wrap, sponsored by Stifel and Ophthalmology Associates, with Stifel Director of Investments, Eric Roberts. So how do we finish off the first day of the week?
Well, stocks were surprisingly mixed at the close. The S&P 500 closed near flatline, up just 2 points at 6,881. The Dow slipped 73 points, or 0.2%, closing at 48,904. And the Nasdaq advanced 0.4%, closing at 22,748.
People thinking about Iran.
That's what's been on everyone's mind as we headed into today's trading session. This weekend's joint U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran worked through the markets today, triggering an initial sell-off that rebounded into the afternoon. Iranian officials have vowed to retaliate, with Iran's Revolutionary Guard commander claiming the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Brent crude oil futures surged 6.6% today, settling at $77.68 per barrel, off from the highs when Brent crude pushed up over 8%.
That is Stifel, Director of Investments, Eric Robert. Thank you. That's the Wall Street Wrap on KMOX.
Lots of clouds for evening plans. Rain will be developing well after midnight. It's chilly. Little change in temperature, 39 for the low. That's just about where we are right now. Tuesday, periods of rain. Some thunderstorms possible, 59. Tuesday night, periods of rain. Some storms in the evening Tuesday night. The rest of the night should be dry, 50. Wednesday, periods of rain. Some thunderstorms, 67. Same story on Thursday, it's 71. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is a gloomy sky, 43 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Traffic from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Well, we still got a backup on 44, but it's getting better. This traffic reports the service of S&L Coins. Westbound 44 jams west of Antire through to about the Lewis Road, Merrimack River Bridge area, and then it starts picking up the pace as you approach 109. So, again, it was jammed earlier west of 109 because of a crash that they've already cleared. Southbound 170 bogs down Ladue to 64. Northbound 170 Scudder to Airport Road's busy. Westbound 70 wide open from downtown all the way to Wentzville. Westbound 64 Kings Highway to Clayton Skinker slow, and then Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70s heavy. Southbound 55 just a little busy at Gasconade Bates, and eastbound 64 east to 255 midway to 159's heavy in the work zone. Next update at 5:20 from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report, sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories, and by Happy Roof. We always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX. News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
It is a Monday edition of the program. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Matt Pauley, Bernie Miklas alongside. I am in Florida for Cardinals spring training. Bernie's back in St. Louis. Kevin will be back with us tomorrow. He is continuing to, sounds like he's had a rough travel day based off some of the things that I've seen on his social media. So we're hoping that it goes all right for him and he gets back into St. Louis safely.
What's he doing? I'm afraid to find out. What's he doing? Is he having any road rage incidents or?
So he tweeted. Let me get this. This makes for fantastic radio.
That's our guy, man.
But that's okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. So where is it? He tweeted out, "Great. This is awesome. A flight from Chicago to St. Louis had to deplane because of a fuel leak, and you could smell it. So they send this text and says, your flight's now going to depart at 2:30, and it was 2:00, and there was no plane available, so that wasn't going to happen." So he's just having, standard issues with flying. It happens.
Well, I wouldn't wish that on anybody because that's a frustrating thing. So, but Wheels will be okay. He rolls with it.
Indeed he does. No pun intended. So welcome into the program. It is Redbird Rush Hour. We're going to spend a fair amount of time today on with the big news from yesterday, and that was the extension for Oliver Marmol. Bernie, I was just reading through. You just posted it in the last few minutes. I was just reading through your stream of consciousness about the Marmol extension that's available over at stlsportscentral.com. So I want to jump off that a little bit. As the news broke yesterday, and it all kind of happened very quickly. We found out, I think Derek Gould was the first person to tweet out anything. And before you know it, a press conference was happening probably within the hour of Derek Gould's initial report. But what was your takeaway when you learned that indeed Oliver Marmol was getting the contract extension?
Well, not to sound like a jerk, I kind of shrugged. I'm like, okay, yeah, we knew that was going to happen. So yeah, they finally got it done. I think the timing was good. If you're going to do it in spring training. Let everybody talk about it and then get back to getting the team ready. And Ollie Marmol will be the first one to talk about that. It just, the focus, get back to the team now. I mean, the Cardinals open the season in like 24 days from now. So it's amazing how quickly time's running out. But I mean, honestly, I wasn't surprised. I thought it was a virtual certainty. I mean, I don't know if I would have said it was a lock, but I would have bet. I would have not literally, but I would have wagered a lot of money figuratively on him signing a contract extension. And it actually makes sense too, because they're entering a rebuild. He's familiar with everything that's going to go into this rebuild, including the personnel. And he and Chaim Bloom are unified, and they've spent countless hours having dinners, sessions, talking about how this rebuild will proceed and what's expected of everybody, and the list of priorities, and so on and so forth. That's a really good reason to keep Ollie Marmol. If you were contending for you had a team you thought could go deep into the postseason, make the postseason. You had a veteran team with some great players. You had everything you needed to make a run. Well, maybe there would have been a case in this alternate universe where you think about a manager's change, not because Ollie's doing a bad job. My point is, in the situation they're in, this is a perfectly natural course of action. And I'm glad that the Cardinals did it, and I'm happy for Ollie Marmol.
Yeah, I'm happy for him as well. I didn't really care if they got it done, like when they got it done. My belief was always that Ollie was going to be back next year. So if they wanted to sit there and say, we're going to go through the year and see what it's like with Ollie working with Chaim for a regular season and not do it till the end of the season, okay, that wouldn't have bothered me. I was looking, Jim Hayes does the Cardinal Territory podcast with Lance Lynn and Matt Hollett. Lance, I was watching one of those, and Lance Lynn did mention that as a player, it does impact players when you have a lame duck manager or a manager who's on the final year of the contract, that inside the clubhouse, there's just some discomfort that goes along with that. I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought that players aren't concerning themselves with the contractual status of their manager. Maybe that's something more for veteran players than younger players, but I very much took note of when Lance Lynn said that. And I guess maybe that tweaked my belief just a little bit, because if a guy like him who's been around for a while says that the lame duck status of a manager does impact the clubhouse, well, then get the dude under contract.
No, and I gosh, I have a lot of respect for Lance Lynn, and he's a straight shooter. And by the way, I think Cardinal Territory is great. So that's a must watch for everybody if you're looking for stuff on YouTube. In addition to all of the fine KMOX programming,
of course. That goes without saying,
and STL Sports Central. But I, in my experience, I think it comes down to the individual, the specific character of a club. I mean, some clubhouses just, have a degree of just being rotten, but if you have a pretty healthy clubhouse setting, I with a lot of guys with a lot of character as far as just doing the right thing, I don't think it would matter all that much if a guy is in the final year. But I listen, for as long as I can remember this, it's always been gospel that no, you can't let a guy go into a lame duck season, and all that. You can, but I understand why the point of the matter is they got this done and they believed it. But Matt, I think you would agree. I think it transcends that. I think this is just a matter of not that he was necessarily, he's in his final year, so we better do something now. I just think it's a pretty profound statement from Bill DeWitt Jr. and Chaim Bloom that they really like this guy and they really believe in this guy and they think he's exactly the guy you want in a rebuilding type situation. I mean, I think it's more about that than anything. I mean, it's like, I don't know why people have a hard time accepting that they really like him. It's not like they're holding their nose and extending his contract. Well, I don't know, but let's just hold our nose and extend the contract because we don't want him to be a lame duck. No, they love Ali Marmol. And I know some fans don't. That's fine. But I'm shocked that apparently a percentage, maybe even a large percentage of Cardinals fans were just like shocked by this. Why? Why would you be shocked?
Yeah, it had been telegraphed. It had been reported that they were working on something. Here's you're going to be my therapist for a second, Bernie.
Do I need to put on another hat? I don't know. You want me to get one like a cab driver cap or something? I can listen to you better anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah, whatever. Act like a bartender, pour a drink while we're talking. The vast majority of the Cardinals fan base recognizes the fact that most of the culpability of what has happened in recent years with the Cardinals being passed by in so many areas kind of lays at the feet of John Mozeliak. That's the guy that, and I think Mo had an incredible career. Some things got away from him organizationally at the end. You combine it with COVID and some other things going on. It kind of became quicksandy and they got passed by a lot of organizations, and the roster simply has not been good enough for a good number of years. Cardinals fans can recognize that, and rightfully so, that there's a lot of culpability that comes to John Mozeliak. So Oliver Marmol, in many ways, has been managing this team with one, if not two hands tied behind his back for the better part of his tenure. And the team, outside of 2023, the team has actually been respectable in their time. They have been in playoff position deep into the seasons. They were a buyer 2 years ago. They were a team that after they went on that May run this past year were in really good shape, and they continue to stay in there. Like he's had so many things going against him, and yet the team has done some nice things. But then there's like this disconnect of the idea that, hey, maybe it's not Ali's fault. Maybe Ali's actually done a really good job with what he was given, and he hasn't been given enough. So let's see what happens if he starts to be given a little bit more and more. I just don't understand why there's the understanding by Cardinals fans of the issues with John Mozeliak, but then not being able to push down the dominoes and say, okay, maybe this isn't an Ali thing.
Exactly. And it's not just John Mozeliak, and I would tie ownership into that. And listen, I think Bill DeWitt Jr. has been a terrific owner. All you have to do is look at his 30-year track record. One doesn't have to be Redbird, as long as they're looking at something fairly. The Cardinals have been a top 5 major league franchise for 30 years. The last 3 years haven't been good. That does not wipe out the previous 27 years that came before that. They let it get away. They made some mistakes. Bill DeWitt Jr. acknowledges it. The thing that he treasures the most, player development, also having an edge in things like analytics, the things that he did when he brought in Jeff Luhnow, they let that slip away. You used that term earlier, and they did. So that's the thing that has always puzzled me. Let's see. If we talk about, I'm not saying this applies to all Cardinals fans. All right. I'm really not. But a percentage of Cardinals fans who I would say maybe make the most noise and they're more vocal on social media, and their opinions are, broadcast loud and clear, not literally, but you know what I mean? So I've said this before, I'm going to do it again. So let's see. The fans that are really, the percentage of fans that are really, really unhappy with the direction of the team, that have been very critical of Bill DeWitt, doesn't spend enough money, doesn't do this, doesn't do that, more worried about Ballpark Village, blah, 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 blah. Then the fans, a huge percentage of fans have just realized, wait a minute, John Mozeliak let this thing, he just fell apart. The whole thing fell apart. The rosters make no sense. It's a big jigsaw puzzle that you can't put together. There's log jams everywhere. They've misspent their money. They've squandered payroll. It's just been a total mess. The player development system is like dried up. They don't know what they're doing down there. They don't have a catching instructor. They don't have an outfield instructor. They don't have enough instructors. So the fans that are very critical, and by the way, they should be critical of a lot of things. They raise heck about the owner. They raise heck about Mo. They raise heck about the player development system, that this is bad, that's bad, this is bad, that's bad, all above the level of Ollie Marmol, right? Or whoever would be managing the Cardinals. If it was John Smith, same thing. Why is it then that somehow, given that we've all declared the people above Ollie Marmol have failed, so to speak, or they have like really let the thing disintegrate, why is it then that we would expect him to like transcend all of that and like levitate above it like he's flying in the air, that he can perform miracles? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. If the people that you work for are screwing up repeatedly, why is everyone pointing at the manager? Seriously, it's just cuckoo bananas, man. It's cuckoo.
It is. That's what we're going to continue talking about this. That's Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley. I know I'm late for traffic and some other things. We'll get to all of that coming up. It is Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Did you see the forecast? Another huge storm is tracking right for us.
I saw. Honestly, I'm not worried.
Not worried. Your roof is older than mine.
I called Happy Roof. They did a pre-storm inspection, caught a loose flashing that would have caused a major leak.
Wow, I really need that peace of mind.
Protect your happy place before the rain starts.
Booking my free inspection at thehappyroof.com or call 314-897-2310. It's all about the happy ending.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting. Growing gardens and making memories.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, you've got some slow traffic on westbound 70, west of 94 out to about Cave Springs. If you're on northbound 170 from 70 up to Airport Road, slow. South 170 is Brentwood to 64, a little busy. South 270, Olive just down to Ladou's, a little off the pace. Westbound 64, Kings Highway headed out through Bellevue, and then Spady out through Ballas is busy. And again, from 364 out to 70 is pretty slow. Southbound 55 is cleared out in the city, believe it or not. Eastbound 64 delays approaching 157 midway up the hill to 159. Route 3 at Monsanto looks like you got a train crossing backed up northbound to Queenie, southbound at 8th Street because of that one. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Have you been thinking about doing it? Have you been thinking about talking to somebody about getting on a GLP-1? We know they work. People who get on them, they lose weight. It's a proven thing. Now, it's for some people. It's not for other people. You need to talk to some really, smart people that have your best intentions in mind. And that's the folks at STL Weight Loss Injections. They are who I went to, and they said I'm a good candidate for it. And I just started it a few weeks ago, and I'm excited about it. And I'm hoping to lose a little bit of weight because I'm somebody that's part of my life that I struggle with. And it's very frustrating. I work out every day. I don't eat terribly healthy, although this month in Florida probably can take that away. But generally speaking, I'm a pretty healthy eater, and for whatever reason, I just continue to fight my weight. So I'm excited about what's going to happen with St. Louis Weight Loss Injections. One of the amazing things is how easy it is to get involved. You just head to stlweightlossinjections.com and you can schedule an appointment. If you'd rather give them a call, the phone number's right there on the website, 636-244-5333. They've got an amazing facility that they just recently moved into, and you can go in there and they'll talk you through it and see whether or not it makes sense. $199, just $199 for the first month as you start the process. If you want to lose a few pounds, this is a really good way to do it. STLWeightLossInjections.com, STLWeightLossInjections.com.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
It is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Continuing to come your way from Florida, Bernie Miklasz is in St. Louis, and we're talking a lot through the Oliver Marmol extension. Ollie, they have control over him now for 4 years. So he's got 1 year left on his current deal. Then the 2-year extension kicks in, and then there's a club option for a 3rd year on that extension. So he is not necessarily under contract for 4 years, but they are able to control him for 4 years. There's not a lot of major league managers out there that teams have control over for 4 years. There are some people who are pushing back on me because Bill DeWitt Bill DeWitt Jr. Said that they wanted to lock him up long term, and people were kind of joking, 2-year contract, that's really long term. Well, it is. It's a. The Cardinals control him for 4 years, and that's an eternity for a managerial contract.
What these really good people, they were expecting what they were going to sign him to like a 10, 12-year contract. What I don't get it. So yeah, do you realize how often managers' jobs are changed? How many guys come and go? It's unbelievable. I mean, Ollie Marmol is still the second youngest manager in baseball. He really is. The only guy younger. Ollie's 39. He'll be 40 in early July. The only manager younger than Ollie is the guy, Blake Butera, they hired in Washington, who's 33 years old. So if you look at it that way, he's still the second youngest manager in baseball. But if you look all the way around, if you look at longevity and everything else, he is actually one of the more experienced major league managers. In fact, I looked this up the other day. There are only 10 managers in the majors right now, 10, who have more total major league managerial experience. It doesn't matter with what teams. Only 10 managers today have more managerial experience in the major leagues than Ollie Marmol, who is the second youngest manager in baseball, because so many other managers have been fired or they've moved on or whatever. And again, I want to repeat something. This doesn't mean that all these guys have been in the same place all that time. So that's what I mean. It makes it even a better stat because it's all managers, no matter where they manage. You count up their career their career seasons managed at the major league level. There's only 10 of them that have more, that are in there now. Only 10 of them have more experience than Ollie Marmol. What does that tell you?
It says he's third longest tenured manager in the National League now, behind Roberts and Lovell with the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, respectively. And sometimes it's not my job to lament this, but I lament it nonetheless. When you think about the Cardinals, you think about all these great instructors that were with the team. You think about the Red Shanings of the world. And I mean, the George Kissels, you can just go down the list of these people who spent a lifetime with the organization. And Ollie is now going into his 20th year with the organization. He has been a wonderful organizational man who has done a lot to impact Cardinals baseball. And yet he does not, generally speaking, get that same kind of credit.
It's, I wrote that stream of consciousness that you alluded to. And again, thanks for doing that. People can read it at STL Sports Central. That's one of the points I made. I don't get it, and it disappoints me. Listen, if anybody's paid attention to my work, I criticize Ollie Marmol. In fact, I'll tell you all right now, March 26th, if he screws something up, I'll be the first one to write about it and talk about it. Okay. But I try to be fair. That's the point, recognizing the situation he's in. But the thing I think, Matt, and you just touched on it, the thing that bothers me the most about the way he is treated by at least some people, the ones that make the most noise, he does not get that appreciation or respect for being a Cardinals lifer, someone who he joined the Cardinals at age 19. He's now 39. He grew, seriously, he was a teenager when The St. Louis Cardinals drafted him. He's not even 40 years old now. And as I was mentioning in the thing that I wrote, when you look at this long list of Cardinals lifers, guys that have spent, 30, 40, 50 years, Mark DeJohn, Jose Oquendo, Joe Patini, Dave Ricketts, George Kissel, Mike Schilt, Red Shaney's, of course, Willie McGee. I mean, that's a partial list of that's one of the things that makes the Cardinals special, where you have men that have dedicated their entire professional lives to making the Cardinals better and serving the Cardinals. And all of those guys are just put on a pedestal because people appreciate their long-term service to the Cardinals. For some reason, that courtesy is not extended to Ali Marmol. And that's the one thing I've never understood. Hey, if he screws up games, rip him. If you think that he doesn't know what he's doing with the pitchers, or you think he's playing the wrong guy behind the plate or whatever, say it, rip him. That's baseball. That's okay. Every manager goes through that from the beginning of time. So that's baseball stuff. It's fair game. I don't understand the personal animus with this guy. What has he ever done to anybody? Seriously, what has he done other than serve the Cardinals in every capacity there is to serve in terms of a baseball leadership sense? What did he do? Like, did I miss some horrible scandal or something? Of course not. I'm being facetious. What did he do?
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that. We'll continue down this line of thought. It is Redbird Rush Hour. Back with more in a moment on KMOX.
At 5:30, we've got clouds. It is 42 degrees downtown at the Arch. This news update is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. The conflict with Iran is shaking energy markets. Correspondent Cammie McCormick has talked with one expert about what we can expect.
The average American is going to pretty much fixate on the price of gasoline.
But oil analyst Tom Closa says they were going up 10 to 25 cents anyway, with a change in specification that comes with spring.
I don't think gasoline is going to be the problem, though. I think the problem is going to be diesel. And if you remember in 2022, diesel really fueled inflation across the spectrum in North America. And I think that's worrisome at the moment.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the administration anticipated the impact and will be rolling out steps to counter it.
St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer testified today against a bill she says would let the city's state-appointed police board move budget line items without going before the city's financial oversight board, something no other city department is allowed to do. She calls it a transparency problem.
Moving funds within the police budget that are set aside for litigation for other matters is fiscally irresponsible.
She's asking lawmakers to let the still new governance arrangement develop before imposing more changes, like making the city responsible for any lawsuits against the police department.
My ask is to let us get through this year to figure out the bumps of the road that we have, and certainly there have been, but to continue to strip away the authority of the city of St. Louis through this is not going to help us get to the collaborative goal that we need to be at.
The city's police department is currently staffed at about 871 officers, more than 200 short of its authorized strength. Meantime, police misconduct has been especially costly for the nation's biggest city. Here's Jim Krasula.
New York City paid out more than $117 million last year to settle police misconduct lawsuits in cases ranging from violent arrests to protesters in 2020 to bad police work that led to wrongful convictions in the 1980s. That's according to a newly published analysis of city data.
A study uncovers the new best day to book a flight.
There have been plenty of myths about the best day to book an airline flight, but a new study from Expedia suggests to quit thinking Tuesday and Wednesday.
Booking and flying on a Friday can save you up to 8%. It doesn't mean your particular flight, but it's a good rule of thumb.
Expedia's Melanie Fish says the theory is
there's not as much business demand on a Friday, and those weekend travelers are spreading out their trips. So Fridays is offering more value.
Stephen Kaufman, CBS News.
St. Charles is making a push for better transparency during city construction projects. Director of Engineering Dan Mann says a recent survey found that while residents expect work that stands up, they also value knowing what those orange cones down the street are for.
We said, what do you consider the most important thing on a construction project? And the top answer that we got back was the quality of the construction. That makes sense. But a very close second to that was communication.
St. Charles City is now using an interactive tool which tracks everything from sewer relief work to new road design to help keep neighbors in the loop. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, for tonight, periods of rain, especially after midnight, overnight low 39. For tomorrow, we've got clouds and control, periods of rain, and some thunderstorms with a high of 59. And for Wednesday, the high 67 with rain and storms. Right now, clouds and 42 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
When it comes to lighting, Gray Bar goes beyond parts and products. We help contractors turn plans into smart designs, manage kitting and deliverables, and navigate local codes so you can stay on time and on budget. Smart, scalable, job site ready. That's not just lighting. That's like kicking your project into Gray Bar mode. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Bernie Miklas here on behalf of Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer that has been taking care of St. Louis families since 1927, 100 years. My friend Dan Saliga is the fourth generation owner operator of this proud family business. He will take care of your family if you need the help, just as the Saliga families continuously have been doing since 1927. It's an amazing story. Listen, the Miklases are really used to expecting the best from Saliga and getting the best from Saliga. We've been calling on them for 18 years. And if we have a problem with air conditioning or heating, man, you don't want to get stuck where you're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? You never want that to happen. But I tell you what, in the Miklas home, we know that if we're calling Saliga, everything's going to be fine. No need to freak out or worry. They will treat you with respect. You can trust them. They don't hustle you. They don't try to upsell you or talk you into something expensive you don't need. They will explain every option, work with you carefully to find the low-cost solution. They will never, ever, ever mislead you, misguide you, anything like that. They'll answer every question and explain every option, and you can trust them 100%. If you want to find out about all their services and more about the family history, just go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. The phone number is there, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I opened a restaurant and needed everything. Menus, signage, catering brochures.
Everything and then some.
I went to Staples. They printed it all and even suggested takeout menus.
One money pit with a side of fries.
But now at Staples, you get up to $125 off custom print orders.
$125 off. Now you're cooking. Brand your business in a big way at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 4/4 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Come on. No. It's just a golf lesson, champ. Loosen up. I can't. See that Hyundai Santa Fe? Yeah. I only paid. Finish up on your own.
I gotta run.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry, offers end March 2nd. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Breakfast burritos for the morning brainstorm. Easy Cater. Paninis for the lunch and learn. Easy Cater. Barbecue for the clients from Boston. Easy Cater. Brownie boxes and mini bundt cakes for Brenda's workiversary. Easy Cater. One simple platform to feed any size group with food they love from favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Easy Cater. All the food for your workplace, all in one place. Start an order at easycater.com.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we've only got a few slowdowns out there. It's nice to see, obviously. This traffic report service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. So if you're headed home going north on 170, it's slow from Scudder up to Airport Road. Westbound 70 is wide open downtown to Wentzville. Westbound 64, the Science Center out to Clayton Skinker is bogged down, and then it's just kind of off the pace. West of Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to Prospect, southbound 270 and southbound 55. Both looking great. Eastbound 64, you've got that roadwork slowdown approaching 157, but it opens up before you even get midway up the hill to 159. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
We are taking you until 6 o'clock this evening. We've got the SLU Coaches Show tonight from 6 to 7, and then I'll be back with you for Sports Open Line from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. That's Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley. Bernie, we got a text that I thought was interesting. Says the rantings and the blaming fans for not liking Ollie is not helpful. I'm fine with Ollie now, but was unhappy for a while with the way he handled the Tyler O'Neill controversy. I think Ollie has grown from that, but you would be better off trying to understand fans' reasons as opposed to just blaming them for being stupid. And I hear about the Tyler O'Neill thing all the time. And I continue to remind folks that what was actually happening there was it was a clubhouse of a bunch of dudes, veterans and non-veterans alike, who were very frustrated with Tyler O'Neill, and the manager was going out and doing what he needed to do to, I think, send a message to defend kind of the rest of the clubhouse.
Well, that's right. You know, and there's a couple other things like that were going on. Listen, I really get a kick out of how, even though I will specifically say over and over and over again that the large majority of Cardinals fans are reasonable people and they're not haters, but there is a pretty large faction within the base. They seem to hate everything, and they're the ones that are making the most noise. So I don't know how many times I have to say that the entire fan base is still outstanding, but there's just been this animosity and hate that has just like crept into this thing that troubles me and bothers me. And with all due respect, I won't apologize for calling that out.
Yeah. And
because if we all want to say this is the best baseball town in America, well, to me, that comes with a special distinction that you have to be. It's almost like you're held to a higher standard because it is such a great baseball town. So listen, if it makes whoever sent the text I mean this sincerely. If it's helpful to make me the boogeyman, the bad guy, oh, he's the guy that rips okay. If it makes you feel better about everything, that's fine. You can use me. You can I'll be the punching bag. That's fine. But if anybody expects me to just like stay silent with some things I see that I think are ridiculous, even though it does not represent the entire fan base in general, I'm sorry. I just can't do that, and I won't do that.
I got a message from somebody on Twitter, and they said, I hope there's a lockout for 2 years so I don't have to watch Ollie manage game. Can you imagine somebody and I don't think they probably really mean that, but can you imagine writing the words that you hope there is a baseball work stoppage over watching somebody, and especially like if you really want to extrapolate this out, that means you're hoping for businesses in downtown St. Louis to go out of business. Because you're hoping for these people who rely on money to be ushers at the ballpark that's the extent of a lockout. People forget about it. The extent of a work stoppage. I just can't imagine, no matter how much you might dislike the manager, for things like that to be written. And that's the type of crazy stuff we just see way too often.
Yeah, that's right. And then, the other thing that bothers me, and I admit that I let things bother me that I shouldn't let bother me. I plead guilty to that. But the other thing is that Ollie Marmol's got like every single manager that, ever lived. He's got strengths. He's got weaknesses. He makes some really good decisions. He also makes decisions that backfire because, again, every manager who has ever had the job anywhere in Major League Baseball, that same thing applies to them and will always apply to them. He's no different, no better, no worse in terms of fans dissecting his moves. That's a sacred baseball tradition. But it's such a smart baseball town. It's been such a smart baseball town that, again, I'll say it again. It's been such a smart baseball town that I think I hold it to a higher standard because of the respect that I have for the history and the fan support and their knowledge and the way visiting players even talk about how smart the fans are. So I have a hard time reconciling that with something, for example, whatever we think about Ollie that we think he can do better. Okay. There's one thing that he has done an exceptional job of, and every statistic there is proves it, reaffirms it, validates it. I don't care what the criteria is, and I could sit here for an hour and tell you all the reasons why I say he has done an exceptional job of running a bullpen. Exceptional. It's the only reason why they weren't 10 games under 500 in 2024. They finished 4 over 500. His work with the bullpen these last 2 years, especially, exceptional. And yet, I don't have to tell you, Mr. Sports Open Line post-game show. Okay, you let him bring in a reliever and it blows up. Well, he's a dumb manager. He doesn't know how to run a bullpen. I've had people, even if I present a bunch of facts this long on a computer screen, will insist like, you don't know what you're talking about. He's terrible running a bullpen. That's the kind of stuff I have no patience with. If you're going to if you're all going to pat yourself on the back, not all of them, but if people like that are going to pat themselves on the back, oh, we're the smartest fans in baseball. Well, you got to kind of live up to that. Sorry.
Bernie Miklasz and Matt Pauley hosting Redbird Rush Hour today. We will get into we have one segment left. I want to get into a couple non-Ollie things. So We'll break now. Yeah. We'll do that, and we'll wrap up the program with a couple things when we come back in just a moment here on KMOX.
Hey, Happy New Year, big boy. Hey, what's up, Izzy? Also known as the Kool-Aid Man. You got any New Year's resolutions?
I got one, Eddie. I've promised myself to spend more time on that toasty, warm, huge, heated outdoor patio of yours. It's nothing like having your coat off, drinking the coldest beer in town with hundreds of your family, friends.
Man, it is a toasted patio, and that's a great resolution. And, thanks for not mentioning things like weight loss and health kick and Those would be hard in Fast Eddie's. It'd be hard to lose any kind of weight or take away from anything when you got the 5-pound Fat Eddie burger, the hot chick on a stick, that big Elwood on a stick, and those succulent peeling to eat shrimp.
Yeah, I am not losing any weight hanging around your place. I learned it's a lot easier just to make those resolutions simple and fun, buddy.
Man, and that's easy. You're right. That's a great resolution. So make your resolution fun. And head on over to Fast Eddie's Bon Air. You know where to go across that big, beautiful Clark Bridge and come into Alton, Illinois. So like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, we'll see you at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Kool-Aid man.
Hey, Bernie Miklasz here. I want to tell you about my friend Stuart Rosenblum, and by all means, you call him Stewie. He is proud to own and operate the most customer-friendly mortgage company in St. Louis and Illinois. It's called Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. And let me tell you how Stuart operates his business. Stewie's unique because he gives his personal cell phone number to all his customers, or for that matter, anybody who wants to learn more about how he can help. He really does that. It's not a gimmick. He gives out his personal cell phone number if you need his help. And so put this number on your list. This is it, 314-324-4440. You won't have to wait on hold because Stewie will pick up. He'll get right back to you if he can't pick up. But if you call Stewie, what you're really going to get is, in addition to that help and get it quickly, the biggest difference you get with a Stewart's American Mortgage, you pay less. That's because Stewart's the only lender to offer the famous bagel loan. It's called the bagel loan because it looks like a zero, because it's zero in the middle. You pay zero in fees that other dealers charge for. I can just go through the list. You pay no appraisal fees, no closing costs, no title fees, no broker fees, zero. And if you buy a home and take out a loan for $200,000 or more, you pay zero lender fees. I could go on and on and on and on. What you need to do to find out more is just Google bagel loan and it'll take you to his business, or call Stewie directly at 314-324-4440. Thank you.
Bernie Miklasz on KMOX is sponsored by Stewart's American Mortgage, home of the bagel loan, and by Salika Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com traffic center.
There's not much left on the highways right now, thankfully. If you're heading home, westbound 64 is just a little slow. Clayton, Skinker, McCausland. Otherwise, it looks great to Wentzville. 70 downtown to Wentzville is good. Southbound 270, southbound 55, cleared. 55 all the way down through Festus. The only roadwork delay on the Illinois side, we just have that slowdown eastbound 64, approaching 157, midway to 159. Now I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com traffic center.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Get ready, St. Louis area. The St. Charles Boat Show is here March 5th through 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center. See the top dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks and climb aboard your next dream boat. New models, great deals, and summer fun starts here. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for details.
For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the Archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX for the Archives podcast, available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
That's Bernie. I'm Matt. We're starting to wrap up the program. It is time for our weekly weigh-in, brought to you by STL Weight Loss Injections. $199 for the first month. STLWeightLossInjections.com. Make sure to check it out. We will touch on a big topic each week on what's going on with the team. We only have a couple minutes late. So, Bernie, I want to throw this at you. Cardinals have a bit of a decision to make when it comes to the starting rotation. They could go with a 5-man rotation, and Kyle Leahy, Andre Palante, or Richard Fitz could be the odd man out at the beginning of the season, or they could go with a 6-man rotation, at least for a little while, and all those guys get the opportunity to get some starts, especially in the first month of the season. Do you at this point have a preference on what we see from them?
Yeah, and I'm going to say this, though. I reserve the right to change my mind, not because I'm a wimp, but conditions change, circumstances change. Sometimes you think something's going to be better, but you realize, nah, that's not working as I thought it would. I'm very much an advocate of a 6-man bullpen, or excuse me, 6-man rotation. But there's a caveat, and the caveat is if they could sort of do it the way they did it last year, where maybe they have. I'm just going to use it as a hypothetical. I'm not saying definitely this guy. If they would use a Kyle Leahy as someone who will make starts, but he will also work out of the bullpen the way they did with Steven Matz last year. Maybe a non-traditional 6-man rotation, because I think it worked very well last year for the Cardinals. It kept their guys healthy, even though they didn't have a lot of options. So I don't know. What about you? I'll shut up.
Yeah, I like the 6-man. Now, if somebody like Dustin May wants to be on a 5-day rotation, if Matthew Liberatore wants to be on a 5-day rotation, and you got to build out some other things around those guys to be able to do that, they moved heaven and earth to make Sonny Gray pitch at random times, so they can do whatever they want. So yeah, I would like to see all 6 of those guys getting starts in the first month of the season. That was a quick hour, Bernie. This was fun. We will do it again later in the week.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Are we a bad influence on each other?
Perhaps. Are you an enabler?
I think tonight we were especially a bad influence on each other. Shame on us.
We need Kevin. Who knew that Kevin was going to be the rational one between all of us? Kevin will be back tomorrow. I'll be working with him. Bernie, great stuff as always. We appreciate it. And yeah, like I said, we'll talk to you later on in the week. That's Bernie. I'm Matt. The Slew Coaches Show on the way next here on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by